My stream is live again. And I need to refresh that after I start this thingy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've gotten a little better at it since then. I was learning a different one too. This is probably my favorite off those first two albums. If I can remember
All right.
this.
Twitch is going to run ads and then we can start.
Okay.
And I'll share my OBS preview with you and you can capture that and blah, blah, blah. So I'll do that now, actually. That should work.
As it goes. I don't know. I just learned that like 30 minutes ago, so I still don't have it really all the way down. Is that a joke question, Cruel Beans? I think it probably is.
Okay. 3 minutes. Man, I'm so annoyed. So what happened? What happened was Windows decided to mute OBS as an application, which prevented it from capturing anything.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Stupid. So stupid. Whatever. I guess the weirdest thing is like it could still capture like my mic, just not any other Windows audio. It's like, nope. Hey, Cruel Beans, how's it going? Yeah, Zoasty's good at the serenade. It's true. Gotta get the sticker off the bottom of this. No. Oh, and I need to put chat up on my prompter. All right, Zoast, I will be good to go as soon as you get cropped. So.
Alrighty. Let me put my guitar somewhere safe.
No worries. Thank you for the Prime sub, Cruel Beans. Much appreciated. I need to adjust my mic so you guys can see my cool shirt. Look at my cool shirt, guys. It's so cool.
Mine's cooler.
Yours is
Mine's cooler.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably true.
It's the Taco Tank shirt.
Oh, sick. Guys, he's wearing the Taco Tank shirt. Should have worn that last time when we were talking about RBO.
Oh, snap.
It's all good. It's all cool and good. You can see my stuff, right? In Discord. Suddenly I can't hear you.
Hello?
Zoast, come back.
Check.
There you are.
Oh. Huh. Still working?
Yep. What did you break?
Okay, I just full screen Discord, that's all.
Oh. Okay.
Ah, this stupid crop. Why do you gotta make things so hard for me?
Dude, you know what? You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right.
It's all about me, me.
Discord won't let me change the quality that I stream to you at now, like it used to, which is really dumb because I have Nitro. Maybe it's because I'm sharing a camera, quote unquote, because anyway, it doesn't matter. Whatever.
Keyboard decided to stop working for a second.
Well, that's bad. You should not do that.
It's fixed.
Sorry that I make your life so hard.
I tell you what. I don't have anything else to say.
All right. That works.
I feel like when I say I tell you what, you're supposed to say something after that, but I realized I didn't have anything to say.
All right, so let me apologize in advance to my Twitch viewers. If you are not subbed, you are going to get ads in the middle of this. I tried really hard to prevent that from happening, but...
Oh, that's why you went live early.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, well. Oh, well. Yo, Eshalar, thank you. Thank you especially for the tier 3.
Well, Papa Bella, thank you. See that?
You cropped?
Oh, that messed. Huh? Yeah.
Okay.
I just thanked somebody from last stream. Well, better late than never, I guess.
For sure. For sure. Oh, hi, Nia. Did you decide this is your stream now? Okay. This is officially my cat's stream now. So cool. Well, I guess we should start, huh? So
let's get into it. Let's go.
So last time, a couple days ago, a good friend Zoast joined me to talk
That's me.
about. Yep, that's that guy over there on the other side. Yep. Joined me to talk about my 4 out of 4 no major glitch Super Metroid world records, because as I mentioned before, he is awesome and has done it a few times in the past. And so before Zoast, Hodarubi did it with any hundo and low percent, and then Zoast did it a few times over the years, and then I just did it like a month ago, a couple weeks ago.
That's all. That's all that existed for Hoda's era. So
yep. So yeah. Last time we talked about low percent ice and then reverse boss order. So today we're going to talk about 100% and then hopefully any percent, if you still have time for that, despite the delays.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, so we can get into it. So I'll start the run because it's really long and yeah, but basically 100% is my baby. It used to be Zoast's baby, but then he betrayed it. He betrayed it. He was like, nope, any percent is my baby now. So now 100% is my baby. So I love hundo. A little bit of background about me and my speedrunning career in Super Metroid is I only ever did 100% in Super Metroid for like a million years. From when I was a kid until 2017. Anytime that I played Super Metroid, I always made sure to get 100%. And then when I started watching speed runs of Super Metroid, I was only ever super interested in 100%. And so, you know, of course it made sense that was what I put my focus in. And it just so happened that at the time that I was starting to get like super back into Super Metroid speedruns and started watching Zoast, he was also running 100%. And I was like, this is awesome. This is super cool. So the cool thing about 100% is, yes, it's very long. There's a lot of fanfares and they're all like 7 seconds long, 6.6 seconds. But there's just so much cool movement tech. There's so much cool swaggy movement tech. So, that being said, Zoast, before you decided to give your baby away, like you didn't love it anymore, what made you love hundo so much back in the day?
It's pretty much exactly what you said. Is like all the movement tech is so sick, and there's so many possibilities to like come up with crazy strats when you get spring ball and stuff like that.
Do I remember?
Just the fact that
go ahead. Sorry.
Just the fact that it was my first world record gave it sort of that feel to me, and coming up with the spring, the what I would argue is I would say is the first consistent spring ball tech, making this route more possible for RTA.
The ice clip.
The ice clip, consistent ice clip.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of strats that so there's a couple of strats that are really famous that came from TAS, but I figured out how to get them into human capable shape, like Sex Master and Indiana Jones, and there's probably a lot of stuff I'm forgetting. But
man, Indiana Jones is such a cool strat. It's like
Mission Impossible. I'm sorry, Mission Impossible. I was thinking of.
Well, okay, but Indiana Jones is really cool too. It's the main strat that makes me be like, I don't know, should I run early Croc again? And then I think about how awful Croc RNG is, and I'm like, no.
Yeah,
but
it's tough. It's cool that they had a resurgence of sorts, like their
Croc. for sure. I like that. And the current early Croc record, I want to say is a lowish 113, which is awesome. Like I love that. I love it.
I was gonna say also, you know that Matt Damon gif where he like gets old really quickly?
Yeah.
When you when I see stuff like you entering the third room of series with 26 on the milliseconds, that's what happens to me basically. I don't think I've ever gotten a 26 through there.
Well, you just gotta get hardcore with the Zodin pumps, dude. That's all you gotta do.
True. Right.
But yeah, because I mean, okay, backing up here a little bit, like I suck at traditional arm pumps. You know, you have the controller and you do the L and R. Like I'm so bad at that. So, anyway, yeah. So, am I remembering correctly? When you started running Super Metroid, because you didn't play it as a kid, right? So,
correct.
When you started running Super Metroid, you did it because it looked so cool. Am I remembering that, or am I mistaken?
Yep.
Okay.
That's correct. What happened was, the first game I would say seriously speedran, would be Symphony of the Night. And I picked that because I like the Richter run in particular, because I had played a ton of fighting games. I played all kinds of games when I was young, you know, like before speedrunning. Played RTS, I played Warcraft 3 and StarCraft, I played Counter-Strike when it came out, I played shmups, I played all kinds of retro gaming. But I did play a lot of online, like on GGPO and Fightcade, fighting game stuff. And it was a lot of classic Street Fighter 2 more than anything, but you know, various things. I played a little Third Strike, a little Garou, Mark of the Wolf. So Richter's moveset in Symphony of the Night, if you don't know, is very fighting game-esque. And so that kind of spoke to me, and I started picking that up. But then one of my friends like gave me a cartridge of Super Metroid. I had a friend that had like an insane retro collection, and he would always go to flea markets and stuff and just find great deals. And he'd just have like copies of extra games, and he might give you one here or there. So that happened with Super Metroid, and me and two other friends sat down and I played it for the first time with them. And then I was like, hey, I wonder what the speedrun, because I'd just gotten into sort of speedrunning a little bit. I was like, I wonder what the speedrun of this looks like. So, you know, I went on to SDA, you know,
heck yeah,
I'm
dude.
old.
I mean, that's where I got into speedruns too, man. It's cool.
Cool. And I looked at Hoda's 32 that was on there, and I was like, "Oh my god, this looks so cool!" And that was it. That was it. And I was like, I want to try to do that. You know, try to do that. That's what happened. Yeah,
for sure. What year was that? Do you remember?
2012, summer 2012.
Cool.
And I started running. You know, I started messing around with Symphony of the Night at the end of 2011 or something like that.
Yeah, so it makes sense that you know, if you were so into the cool movement, that you would have had an early love for Hundo, because it just does. It has so much cool movement. Love this category. Somebody asked how long I've been playing Super Metroid. So I've answered this quite a few times over the years, but I'm cool covering it again. So I played this first as a kid, like shortly after it came out. And then I would just play it like at least once or twice a year, every year for, you know, a long time. And then I kind of didn't play it or watch it very much from like 2009 maybe to 2013, something like that. Like it was a few years where I just kind of fell off and didn't look at it much. And then around 2014 or so, I started looking at it again. Zoast was dominating, and I saw GDQ, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool!" So yeah, that was me. And then I started streaming it in 2017, and I just never stopped. So, quick note here: there are a couple different routes that you can do in 100%. So Zoast actually goes up here at Red Tower. I go down. Especially with the newer, like more aggressive strats, and moonfall and things like that. Going up is probably faster if you can do it optimally, but doing that movement optimally is also very hard. So it really comes down to preference a lot of the time, but go ahead.
I love how you save a super on that route too. I mean, it's pretty cool.
And that's really hard to quantify how that impacts the time. I think it's 2. I think you have two extra supers. It has slightly less swaggy movement because you don't get to do blue balls coming out of Kraid when you go back for the missile because you get the missile early.
I do miss that strat. I do really miss that strat. It's so cool.
Yeah, but yeah. So those are the 2 routes. Those are the differences between what Zoast and I run specifically, and then also this route that we're watching here is referred to as late croc. And what that means is that when we go to wrecked ship, we do not visit Croc. We just run right past. We go to wrecked ship, and then we don't end up going to Crocomire and down to Grapple and stuff until after Meridia, or after Lower Norfair. Dude, see, this is what happens to me when I don't run a category for a while. I just forget. So, but yeah, in early Croc, you just do it right as you're on your way to wreck ship. And so you have grapple beam for the majority of the game, and it just kind of changes things. So I think one of the coolest things about Hundo is that all of the different routes that you can run are competitive. Like you could get good enough at early Croc to world record in theory, but there would be more RNG that you'd be struggling against. It really is like it's a trade. It's always going to be a trade of some sort, but I just love that there's so many different ways to run this game, this category especially, they're all competitive. So anyway.
One interesting thing about the routing, and I've probably told the story, but it just seems fitting time to talk about this again. When I first started, it was funny because everybody that was playing Twitch, Hundo, and there wasn't that many people, but everybody was doing this weird route where you, how's it go? I know you you do green Brinstar at the cleanup at the very end.
Yeah.
I can't remember the whole route, but shout outs to Desi. Desi had he theory tests like every segment that was kind of remotely viable for any route, like he had it figured out where he could piecemeal every segment, and then he had an Excel spreadsheet where he inputted the frame counts.
Yeah.
And then it tallied like the differences in the routes.
He wrote a script to do it, right? Like to calculate like the fastest route, but
I think it was just done on the Excel spreadsheet. I think. I'm not sure. But he missed, he forgot to pick up a power bomb, so that's why they were all doing another route. And he sent me the task files at some point. I was like, I don't think you got a power bomb here.
You pointed out the error. Yeah, I remember him talking about that.
But it was funny because even before he sent me those files, I started running. I just started running something similar to the current route. Except for Gauntlet wasn't early, it was late Gauntlet.
Yeah, right before Turian, right?
It was early Croc as well, but yeah, right before Turian. I was just I don't know. I just feel this is very dangerous to do. Just to say I feel like this is better, but I don't recommend doing having faith in yourself, just feeling that. But luckily, I was correct on that. So that was kind of an interesting dynamic when I first came in. And then he fixed the spreadsheet, and there was this weird route that he thought was fastest for a brief period of time where you do retro cleanup before a wreck ship or something. Desi's first world record does that route. The first run that beat Hoda Ruby does a crazy route where like I said, you do retro cleanup on the way to wreck ship, and then I don't know, it's wild.
That does sound crazy. I know I've seen that run. I'm trying to remember exactly how all that played out though.
And also, like, you got like Red Scarlet's route, which was crazy too. Like, there's just been a lot of cool evolutions of the 100% route, but they mostly happened, like 10 years ago. So
Right.
it's almost forgotten by now. Like, people just to take. I guess you've only seen either early or late Croc, the standard routes for a long time, and
or meme route, right?
kind of take it for granted that it's figured out when it wasn't figured out for a while. Meme route.
You're supposed to laugh, dude.
Well, I was waiting for you to say it earlier, and I was like, I swear if he says meme route, you just had to go there.
Yeah. So when Zoast and I were both running Hundo in 2021, 2020 to 2021. Zoast was doing the early power bombs, Red Tower, and I was sticking to my guns with this route that you're seeing here. And at one point, I was trying so hard to convince him to switch routes, and really, I mean, it was mostly selfish. I just wanted to be able to compare our runs more easily, but he wouldn't do it. So one time I mentioned in his stream, I was like, "Oh, you're still running meme route," and I put like the resident sleeper emote or like something like that, and you got so mad. You're like, "It's not meme route." And then
I would never get mad. I would never be mad at you, Zenny.
Oh, of course not. But yeah, when Zos got the first 112, the 112.55 record, there's a point like 30 seconds after where he's like, "Confirm not a meme route." And that's just like that memory just lives rent free in my head forever. Just watching you say that. So anyway, yeah, we haven't been talking very much about all the cool stuff that's happening, because I mean, it's impossible to talk about everything in 100%. That's, as much as I love this category, I've realized that I kind of hate commentating it because you just can't talk about everything. But even in just the last 2 or 3 minutes, I've already seen, I don't know, 2 or 3 big mistakes that, like, they're not extremely time costly, but the thing about 100%, this is actually a good thing to point out here, is when you're going for a really solid run, like world record pace type time, generally, I mean, yes, there are huge mistakes that you can make that will make or break the run, but generally the more frustrating and more common thing that will kill a run is, as they say, like death by 1,000 cuts. Like, you make a little movement mistake here, and then you make a little movement mistake there, and you just do that over the course of 20 minutes, and all of a sudden you're 20 seconds behind. Like, it's so mentally and emotionally draining. So
Hondo is particularly brutal about that, it feels like.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, all the categories are to some extent, but also thank you for the bits. I tried to type in that thank you, and then Windows is like, your date and time are wrong, so you can't type. Like, it gave me an error. I was like, wait, what? I don't know. But thank you.
But yeah, it's as hard as it is to optimize this run, when you get the run optimized and when you get that clean run that you've been working for, I feel like, I mean, I can only speak for myself here, of course, but I think even though I know that my any percent record is probably the strongest world record that I have, I think I got more of an emotional release from my Hundo records, just because it's such a brutal grind. Like, and it's hard to explain because it's not like any percent isn't a brutal grind. Like, it is.
It is, yeah.
So yeah, but
I don't know. After I played for quite a long time, Hundo is just like, it's just so beastly. Like, to mentally think about picking it up and go for a PB.
Right.
There's so much going on in the category, and that's why it's awesome. So, like, don't get me wrong, but it's also a little intimidating to pick back up and try to get really good at it again.
Definitely. So one cool thing that you'll see coming up here, this is a strat that has persisted for a long time. This is an old school strat that it still is really fast. So we call this Ocean Fly. It used to be in the old any percent, but then any percent went Fantoon first, so you don't see it there anymore. But yeah, so you gotta time that shot, and then what you have to do is you have to say, nope, that's not good. And then as long as you say that, the door will open and you'll be able to shine spark all the way across. So
this is the first trick I learned.
Same.
Like the first big speed trick. So cool.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that about you. Yep, I learned Ocean Fly on a vanilla cartridge with no save states. It was miserable. It was so hard.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, so another cool thing about 100% is you have enough missiles when you get to Fantoon that if you are practiced at it, you can go for an on-screen 1 round, depending on the pattern. So the cool thing about on-screen 1 rounds is they're a couple seconds faster than the off-screens that you see in any percent, because you don't have to wait for Fantoon to fly away and then come back. The fastest pattern is a right fast, but that is not what is in this record. And I remember that because it's one of the things that when I decided to move on from the category, I was like, I didn't get a run with that. So I think this is a left mid 1 round. Yeah, looks like it. So speaking of 1 rounds in general, the first time a 1 round ended up in a world record was in this category, actually. I think it was a 112.47. It was my first PB back to the category after my record from 2021. And I think that run was actually a 1 round fast, but then I made a ton of mistakes, and so it only ended up being a PB by like 6 seconds or whatever. Tex, I think you are right that there was a 1 round in the co-op world record before this. I was more referring to, traditional single records, but do you want to talk about wreck ship, Zoast? I have PTSD from wreck ship.
Well, you have to be careful with your energy here. It's when we first were trying to do late croc, that was one of the things we had to figure out. One of the bigger problems was conserving your energy getting to the E-tank for one, but also it's a big deal to conserve your energy for what do you call that spark? The gauntlet spark.
Yeah, gauntlet spark.
Yeah, conserving your energy for gauntlet spark. So we had to figure out all that stuff back in the day. So that's one thing to keep an eye on. Watching Hundo, people, you gotta be careful not to take too much damage after this E-tank. And getting this E-tank was also a problem at first, but shout out to 2Cat who...
I can't believe I bomb jumped there. I thought I was always doing the yellow jump when I finished this grind. Okay. This run's trash, dude.
2Cat introduced the bomb jump into the route to keep us from having to pause.
Yep. So, funny story. One of my first memories watching your stream was you doing that bomb jump. You learning and doing that bomb jump because you kept falling in the water trying to jump across, and you were so annoyed by it. and you were like, yeah, so 2Cat came up with this bomb jump and it's really good. And then somebody was like, why don't you just turn off high jump? And you're like, cause that's way slower.
Yeah.
So yeah, that jump there is brutal.
Ballistic. Nice speed keep.
Yeah, it's a good attic. So wrecked ship as a segment is probably I mean, I can't say objectively that it is the hardest segment in any of the speedruns that I've run, but it's up there. If it's not the most difficult, it's top 3 easy. Just because there's so many intricate strats, and messing up any of them loses you a ton of time. So yeah, I remember when I was first trying to get good at Hundo in 2019. One thing that I would do a lot of the time is run against either current or previous world record segments, just to, you know, try and see where I was losing time and get better and whatever. I could not beat Behemoth's wreck ship segment. Like I tried for like a week and I didn't even beat it a single time. It took me a long time to get good at the wreck ship segment. It's just so freaking hard.
Yeah, there's so much. Like I think of the wreck ship segment in the and Gauntlet and all that as the same segment in my mind, and I agree. That's like one of the hardest segments. You got the attic, you got the robots, you got jumping up to the missile, you got this robot flusher, you got the trying to do the speedball to the missile, you got the freaking Sex Master Spark, you get the quick drops on the the dicey quick drops on the breakable blocks with the missiles on both sides. It's just like hard trick after hard trick to try to nail.
Yep. Back to back to back to back to back to back is extremely mentally and emotionally draining too. Especially like if you're having one of those days where you keep messing up, not even necessarily the same thing, but like one of the same things in this big long segment of hard tricks. Like it can just break your spirit for the day. You know, you've been doing runs for 2 hours or 3 hours or whatever, and you get, you know, a couple good paces and they all die to something stupid in this segment. It's just like, okay, screw this.
It's tough. Like, I mean, you think Fantoon's like the biggest reset point, and then right after that, you got this. Yeah. It's a hellfire.
Yeah, so Zoast mentioned a speedball. I go for a speedball here. I don't remember if I got it in this run. Probably not, because it's really hard. Yep. But
nice little time save.
Yeah, it is. I remember you finally deciding to start going for it because it saved more time than you thought. And that's one of those frustrating things where you're like, for me personally, it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm never gonna do that. And then I like time it out and it actually is a good time save and I'm like, fine. Like, I'll add another reset type thing. I mean, you know, you missed that, you don't have to reset, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I'll add one more hard thing. So we have a Shine Spark coming up here. We're also gonna pause and change our beam combo, and people ask why. We're also going to remove Varia Suit. So we're changing our beam combo so that we have just Wave Beam, so we can do X Factors for the next half of the run, I guess. And we take Varia Suit off, not because it's required, but because it simplifies the stand-up glitch from Other Brain. The other thing is, you saw me put a specific amount of energy in my reserves. That was so that the Shine Spark would stop in that exact spot so that I could do this trick. This is called Sex Master. And, you know, back in the day, Googling that would have been a bad idea, but apparently if you do it now, you'll just get a tutorial video by Oats, so. And then here are the quick drops. But yeah, that Shine Spark, the Sex Master Shine Spark, is very difficult. It's not even so much that the short charge is hard to do as much as it is just, it's hard to be consistent with the correct amount of short charge because you have to get speed echoes in the right spot so that you break some blocks but don't fall as you're breaking them. And if you don't manage to do that, then you have to do a really hard quick drop backup, which is insane. And I actually managed to get it in 2 PBs back to back in 2021, which is crazy, but
Crazy. I named that backup sex, or not backup sex, it's makeup sex.
yeah. Zos, did you know that you had a crazy pace that died in this room that you never got again because you quit the category? Did you know that?
I died in which room?
You fell in the pit before the energy tank.
Oh, I fell in the Metroid 1 pit? Oh my
Yeah,
god.
this one right here. Yep.
What was the pace?
I don't know, but you were crazy ahead. You were like gonna destroy. You were so far ahead of my pace, my 1:13:04 pace. I think you were like minus 20 or something to my pace.
Is this after the 112 or before? It's probably before the 112.
Before the 112. You had a crazy pace, or it might have been. No, it had to be before because you quit like right after the 112.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a crazy pace. You were like 20 seconds ahead of me and my 1:13:04. I was really scared. I was like, no, he's gonna ruin my life. And then you fell in the pit, and I was like, oh, that hurts. Okay. I mean, I was quote unquote happy, but I was also really sad about it. So dang, that's awful.
I totally understand.
It's a bad feeling. Let's see here. So this is Mission Impossible.
Bump.
So you got to do a quick drop through here, and then you buffer a jump back up through the hole. This is a really cool strat.
When I go bump, that's not the Series Escape theme. That's the Mission Impossible theme. There's the same thing, I know, but...
Yeah, so funny enough, this isn't really Super Metroid related, but whatever. I loved Mission Impossible 1 as a kid. Like, it was one of my favoriteest movies, especially the part where he comes down through the ceiling, which is what that strat is directly referencing. You know, he does the like, comes down through the ceiling vent, whatever. And then, I don't know, like, in my, like, adult life, I kind of just fell out with the movies. Sassy and I watched one of them when it came out, like when my oldest was a baby, and like we enjoyed it, but I don't know, like I would see that a new Mission Impossible movie was coming out and I wasn't like invested in it or whatever. But in more recent years, like the last 3 or 4 years, like we've gotten back into like watching them periodically, and I gotta say, like, they're great movies. So yeah, like if you don't watch those, then you should, because they're good. So anyway,
I don't think that the director of the first one went on to do any other ones, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't remember. They're all good though.
Brian De Palma did the first one.
The second one is pretty meh, but I'd say the rest of them are worth watching at least once. Anyway, that's my tangent. What do we have coming up? So this has been Brinstar Cleanup. There's a lot of like really swaggy tricks in this. But it's also, as far as 100% goes, this is one of the more chill segments of the run.
I love Green Brinstar Cleanup. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's fun.
The
I wouldn't call it easy, but it's pretty
exactly.
chill.
And that's what I was trying to get at is, oh, that clip. I always forget that's a good clip right there. Anyway, because it was kind of one of those moments where you're like, okay, I can breathe, you know, because you got past Wrecked Ship, you got past Fantoon, and then Wrecked Ship, and then Gauntlet, and like all that stuff. I think it's kind of human nature to like take a beat, you know, like try and calm down, whatever. But I started like losing time in this segment very consistently because of that, because I would like disengage a little bit. So it's just one of those weird things where like yes, it's kind of chill, but that can be actually a bad thing to think of it that way.
This category is so impossible. Like, your run is so amazingly good, and yet there's still some significant mistakes.
Yeah.
But it's just like the nature of this run. It's impossible. It's so impossible to get a perfect run of this category.
Yeah, one of the things about running Super Metroid is maintenance. Just doing maintenance on your strats in the run, and this is a good strat right there. And it's so much more so in Hundo. Like, you fix Meridia and then Norfair breaks. You fix Norfair and then Brinstar breaks. You fix Brinstar and then Wreck Ship breaks. You fix Wreck Ship and then Meridia breaks. It's just like, dude, please. It's hard.
Yep.
So, okay, this is actually a good time to mention this. So I used missiles to open that door, which seems kind of weird because generally you want to use supers to open missile doors because it's faster. One of the things that I realized in my more recent 100% grind that resulted in this run was that I needed to start focusing on conserving supers very early in the run. So I want to say as early as like Wrecked Ship? I don't even remember. But I started coming up with strats to conserve super missiles everywhere I possibly could. Yeah, like Attic and Wrecked Ship. And the reason that we do that is because we need to try and make sure that we have as many supers for Ridley as we possibly can. Because having at least 27 supers for the Ridley fight makes that fight so much more consistent and also faster. So that was a big key to this grind, was realizing that, and kind of, it sounds counterintuitive because it's a speed run, but sometimes you kind of got to slow down earlier in the run so you can go faster later in the run. So that's just one of those things, is like, it's not obvious, but like, I in this run had been focusing on conserving super missiles already for like 20 minutes at this point. Like 15-20 minutes. It's just crazy. Anyway, and that is another reason that Red Tower power bombs, early power bombs, is so beneficial, because like Zos pointed out earlier, you save a couple supers with that route, and it's hard to overstate how valuable those are. So
slow is pro.
Spend 5 seconds to gain 10 later. Yeah, like, pretty much. Man, see, I'm not getting any of the cool swag strats. I told you this run, like, it's a good run. It's a really good run, but like,
it's an exceptional run.
There's
if I was gonna rank like the runs that I would least like, that I thought would take me the longest to beat of yours, this might be the top one. I don't know.
Yeah, this or any percent. Probably this, because you're so much more experienced in any percent, but yeah.
Well, it's just like, it's been so long since I played a lot more any percent in the last 4 years than I have Hundo, right, which is 0.
Well, I have a ton of the tournament. You're in the 2023 tournament.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
You weren't really pursuing a PB, which I respect, but you were doing it.
That's fair.
I think you had a couple paces, and I think after you got a couple of those paces, you were like, I'm not interested in this. So you just kind of like took a back seat. That's not exactly the right term, but
no, it's fair.
Like I said, I respected it for sure.
Yeah.
Especially because I think you were still dealing with your wrist at the time. So
yeah, sounds about right.
So yeah, Hats, I understand what you're saying, that you think it would be, RBO would be harder. But I guarantee it's not. Absolutely not. Oh, I was super happy when Zos joined the 100% tournament. I was extremely happy about that. It made it.
I mean, they're all
it worth made it worth organizing it for sure.
They would all be big projects, so I'm not trying to minimize any of the other ones. The other runs of yours?
Yeah. So that's a pretty solid Dragon fight right there. Thanks to the newer version of Rain Dance. Dragon used to be one of those fights that was so stressful for me. And I remember when I switched to the newer version of Rain Dance because it was less laggy than the older version. As soon as I got consistent with it, I was like, I'm never going back. Never, ever, ever, ever. Because all of a sudden, like, the Dragon fight doesn't even hardly stress me out anymore. So.
I had a lot of problem even, like that big tournament, the one with the huge prize. Like, I had so much trouble with Dragon in that tournament.
Yeah, well, and that was around the same time that the strat changed.
Exactly, yeah. You would think after like almost 10 years of doing the old way that I would feel comfortable with it, but it's just
it was just
tough.
so precise.
Yeah,
it's just crazy.
Yo dog boost.
Yep, the Yo dog boost. So, okay. So you mentioned that Matt Damon gif earlier where he turns old. So a year ago or a couple of years ago, so Drewski's in my chat right now, and I was, running this, and I was singing my song where I talk about the Yo Dog boost, and Drewski said, "Why is it called the Yo Dog boost?" And I was like, "'Cause of the meme." And he was like, "What meme?" And I was like, "Okay, I'm old." It's just like
yeah.
It's
crazy. That was a big meme too.
Yeah,
so, yeah,
it was. Okay, so here's a Puyo Ice clip. So just side note on this, I go for the YOLO strat here because all of the normalization strats broke for me. So, like, I kept on losing paces to the normalized strats and just being like, you know what? F it. Like, I'm not gonna go slower just to lose the run. So I just started going for the fast one instead. Also, you see that I dump a bunch of missiles right here. That's also a relatively new advancement in the route. So the reason we do that is to manipulate Golden Chorizo. The short version is that if you have less than 31 missiles during the Golden Chorizo fight, it will force Golden Chorizo to only do the bomb spit attack instead of doing other stuff, and we can use that to, as I mentioned earlier, get more super missiles. We can farm the orbs that he spits out to get more supers. They have a really good super drop rate. And so again, even though it makes that fight very slightly slower, it's worth it. So that's why we dump all those missiles right there. We don't dump all of our missiles because that would cause issues with some of the strats that we need to do for the next like 5 minutes or so.
Question in my chat, what goal am I focused on? Right now I'm doing 0% for sub hour, and maybe better than that, because it should be able to get better than that with the current route. I'm still working on that. Which is low percent glitched.
Very cool run. Lots of cool out of bounds stuff. So we're coming up to Plasma. The strat for Plasma is actually something I'm really proud of because I looked at the TAS at the time when we were looking for a faster way to do this and figured out a way to make... So this isn't exactly the TAS strat, but it's kind of like a twist on the TAS strat that makes it faster. Like it's a couple seconds faster than what we were doing before, so really like that strat. Really cool strat. I remember when we were working on that, I think I practiced that for like a week straight. Just like an hour a day, a couple hours a day, just like plasma until I got it down.
Pretty tough little strap.
Yeah. It's cool though.
You do a spring ball here?
No, I bailed on that. So I got to the point in this grind where I would be able to tell whether I should go for it or not, and if I shouldn't, then I would just bail on it. So there's the pretty jump.
Are you gonna do the? Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna get the turnaround.
Yeah, I tried. I tried.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Wasn't quite the right position. That's your strat though, right?
That's another one of my strats. I mean, Yo Dog Boost was my strat. I got a lot of them in this category. Behemoth does too. I mean, I definitely don't have, more than everybody else by any means. But I did come up with a lot of cool stuff in this category.
Yeah.
My baby. Now your baby. My estranged child.
Your estranged child. Oh, man. Something I didn't mention last time. So we actually do a moonfall down through these pits. That saves a second in each of them, which is pretty cool.
This bomb's so cool.
Yeah. It's one of those things that I never really got consistent, but you just always go for it. Like, there's no reason not to, so.
Do you not try to spring ball as well? Or?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I just try both.
Yeah.
Failed. That's okay.
Kind of increase your odds that way.
Yeah. So that's the thing, Arian. It only works if you're in the middle of the turnaround as you enter the transition. So you can't just like moonfall and then fall in. You have to moonfall as you're activating the transition. All right, so here's what I was referencing earlier. So these strats are really cool. Like,
I love that spring ball entry.
Yeah, there's a collection of really swaggy strats right here that just makes it really hard for me to want to do the early power bomb. Because if you do that, you don't get to do any of this stuff. And it's all so cool. But next time I run Hundo, I'll probably do early red tower because, I mean, at this point I'm proficient at it because of the ending percent grind. And
oh god,
there you go. So like, I tried, I failed, so I ended up not getting the time save, and it's just one of those things where, like, yes, the strats are very cool, but ultimately it'd probably be faster on average to go the other way, as long as you're good at early red tower, which...
Then he's turning into a memer.
When I was doing this grind, I could do red tower. I could do early power bombs. I mean, I had a 41 in any percent, 4107 or whatever. But I was definitely not quote unquote proficient at it, and I would say that I am now. So
you're planning on coming back to Hundo then?
Eventually. Yeah. I mean, take that, like, put an asterisk on that, because, like, I always say this. I don't know, like, maybe I'll quit tomorrow. I'm not planning on it, right? But, like, you never really know. Like,
yeah,
crazy things happen in life.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's not like I'm not satisfied with what I've accomplished in this game. But
are you thinking 111 eventually, maybe?
Yeah, so that's kind of the thing, is if and when I come back to Hundo, that will be the goal. And so in order to achieve that, I'll need to focus a lot more on consistency. Swag is definitely still going to be a focus because it's 100%. Like, you have to, right? But it's one of those things where, like, if I can determine that early power bombs red tower is gonna take my consistency up, then that will be the play.
Well, it's definitely hard to not be swaggy in Hundo if you're trying to go fast as possible.
Right, exactly.
Pretty impossible to avoid being swaggy. This room's interesting. It's got different strats to it.
Yeah, and they're all pretty even. I was always bad at the other one, which is why I just kept doing this one. And I did the spring ball clip. for you,
Yeah,
Zoast.
yeah.
Zoast used to get really mad at me when I wouldn't go for that, so I fixed it. I don't remember why it wasn't working. I think I was laying the power bomb in the wrong spot or something. Oh, this strat sucks, man. Like I feel like what I just did there was like pretty consistent for me, but that room was so hard to figure out how to go fast, and yeah. Anyway,
It's another one where, you know, a lot of people have different ways of approaching that,
for sure.
that movement.
So
which I love.
Here's where I was talking about. So GT is just gonna spit orbs over and over and over, which gives us the opportunity to farm a bunch of supers. So you see, I have 37 supers now, because after the pack, I'll have
Holy
37.
smokes!
And it's funny because I remember being really on the fence about trying to conserve supers and go a little slower to get more, blah, blah, blah. And then I had a run where I had like 37 supers here, and I never questioned it again. I was like, okay, this is absolutely worth it. Like, I can lose a second here or a second there for the sake of, you know, it improves your consistency for the rest of the run, starting from here so much. Because Ridley gets way easier, and then you're not slowing down as much in Turian as often, and stuff like that. So somebody asked, ever thought about going after any PAL records, or are those just taboo because they are slower? They're not taboo because they are slower. It's just that playing PAL is really frustrating. For lack of a better way to put it. I wanted to, and kind of still want to, try and put some serious work into PAL, but every time that I've tried to play any percent or 100% in PAL, I do one run and I'm like, I don't want to do this again. So I don't. Like, it's weird, it's hard to explain, but
Definitely gonna run ice boots at some point.
That is one thing I will say, is running PAL specific categories is a lot more appealing to me.
Yeah. I've been hesitant to do it because of the different timings of the room. But I think soon is probably definitely could start doing it at some point soon.
Yeah.
Now that I'm like, I don't know, semi-retired or whatever. Not retired, but I'm retired from some of the craziest grinds, maybe.
Right.
Maybe ever, I don't know.
I remember the first time Kano saw me do this spring ball, he was like, wait, that's a real strat? I was like, yeah. It's just, spring ball's so cool, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so this Ridley fight, I don't remember if it's optimal, but I would assume it's really good because I had so many supers. You can manipulate Ridley in such a way that the fight is just over basically immediately, and looks like that is what happened here. Yep.
Yeah, that's sick.
So
that's a lot faster than like
yeah,
doing 15 supers or 12 supers or what have you.
And the thing is, it's so much more consistent because basically, this is true of Ridley in any category. The longer the fight is, the more time there is for him to just go like jank mode on you. And when he does that, you just lose like 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Like, it's, yeah. So.
Yep. I like how you call it jank mode.
Well, I mean, what would you call it? That's what it is.
I love it. It's great.
Yeah, Ridley is he's a strange beast.
Oh yeah, the Shine Spark.
This Shine Spark is really cool. Also, I ended up adopting how you did it because I lost a really crazy pace to that exact run. I missed this speed ball here. That's another thing that's bad about this run.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Are you talking about like the top part of the way I did it? Is that, I guess that would have to be it, right?
Yeah, so you Shine Spark and you hit the top Kazan, and then there were a couple different ways that you could move after that, and you had a specific way that you were doing it that was different than what was optimal.
Yeah.
And I had a run on New Year's Day 2023 where I was minus 20 entering Wasteland to do that Shine Spark, and I lost that entire lead. And after that, I was like, F this, I need to change this. So I did.
Shout outs DBX for the Firefly, Frozen Firefly.
Super cool strat.
One of the sickest strats.
Oh, this looks good.
The Hoda special, and Hoda's like, I didn't do this. So what was the story on that?
Well,
He's like,
so yeah, okay. So here's the story. It was called the Hoda Ruby Special, and then people are like, why is this called the Hoda Ruby Special? It's not in his PB, like, because it wasn't in his legendary PB. And so then people are like, he didn't even come up with it. Why is it called that? And then I think Chabo debunked that. Like, Chabo went and found Hoda Ruby did actually come up with it. He just did it after his PB or something.
Okay.
So, what would we say is the sickest strat to get in a 100% run? I mean, Hoda Ruby Special's up there. The missile speedball after wreck ship is up there.
That's what I was thinking.
I
was thinking the missile speedball.
There's
so many right answers.
Reverse Slinky is up there.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's left? So we have to go to Croc. Oh, there's a strat coming up in Bubble Mountain. Oh, that's bad. That's bad. This run is trash. Trash run. It's so
Watch
funny.
it is. I'm gonna pick up Hundo now. I'm just gonna
do it, man.
No, I'm just kidding. It's so deceiving looking at looking at this and not actually doing the runs.
Yeah.
And like seeing these mistakes. Not that there's that many of them, but seeing them and it's like, oh, I can do that trick, and he missed it. But it's like it's not even. It's like I can't emphasize how hard it is to play as consistent as this run is. Much less try to beat it.
This is another Zo strat. The spring ball through the door, and then you lay a bomb, and you kill the Waver, and then you drop down, and you lay another power bomb. This is such a cool strat.
I don't think the Bubble Mountain part is my strat, except for the bomb on the Waver.
Yeah, so
the bomb on the Waver is my strat.
That's the thing.
The rest of it is.
And that's what I was trying to say is I found that spring ball through the door, and I was like, oh, sick. I found a way to save time. And then it ended up being worse because Bubble Mountain was slower because of extra lag. And I was like, man, that sucks. I thought I found something cool. And then like a couple weeks later, you found the spring ball through the door. And I was in your stream. And I was like, yeah, this is slower. And you're like, why? And I was like, 'cause lag. And you're like, oh, that sucks. And then you were like, wait. And you laid a bomb and it killed the Waver. And all of a sudden, all the lag was gone. And I was like, see, this is why Zoast is amazing. Why can't I come up with cool stuff like this?
Oh, you do. You do.
Well, now
we all
I
have
do.
our moments.
Now I do.
We all have our moments, man.
It's one of those things, like, you just got to put more time into the game, and eventually, like, you see enough things that your brain can think of more things when you find something.
Yeah.
I had been struggling with Spike Suit at this point in the grind. I forgot that. Yeah. So I was starting to say earlier that the really interesting thing about this run is that it happened at a point in the grind where I had just like leveled up. You know how sometimes you're in a grind and you just level up? I had just leveled up, but I kept losing runs right at the end. So like the PB before this one, I missed this space jump and I lost my Shine Spark right there. And like this pace, I want to say at this part of the run I was like +8 or something, right? So like it wasn't an amazing pace, but I just didn't make big mistakes from here to the end, which is why I ended up, panning out. But between that and like all of the other like little mistakes that we've seen throughout this run. Again, it's just one of those things where you never really know where the actual limits are. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, did you have like any faster paces than this one late game, or maybe to G4, or either G4 or like post Lower North Fair?
Yeah, so
Or,
a bunch of my PBs right before this, I would be on like really good pace, like world record pace at Mother Brain, and then screw up stand up or screw up Zeb skip, or I screwed up the Shine Spark in that other PB that I mentioned. And then I mentioned that other pace that I had that was I was minus 20 after Ridley, and I lost all of that at Wasteland. So that's minus 20 compared to a 112.30. With more time to save later in the run. That was just, it was such a crazy pace, but didn't pan out, so.
oh,
Yep, I messed that up. Trash run. It's trash.
much time blowing the Shine Spark's a pretty significant time loss, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, I think at this point in the run, I mean, I can't see the splits, but I think yeah, this is probably like +8 right here. I could look. I mean, it's in the... I'll just pull up VLC and I'll screw up the capture for a second. Okay, so we were +6 at Ridley. And then I didn't miss the Shine Spark. So we were +3 at Grapple. And then we're going to save more time at X-Ray because of the spike suit. So... Didn't Zenny drag you into 100% GDQ race in the future anyways? We were talking about it, but it's nowhere. It's not confirmed or anything like that, Tex. It's just one of those things where, like, it would be cool to do one more time, but we'll see. It's...
I'll consider it.
If I had one more bucket list item for GDQ, it would be a hundo race on stage. I would love to do that, but... It's a lot of coordination, you know. Like, I have to be willing to do it. I would want Zos to be there. I would really want Behe to be there, so like both of them would have to be willing to do it. I'd like Oates to be there, so he'd have to be willing to do it. Like, it's just... I don't think it's something that I can plan on happening, but it'd be really cool to do.
This segment was the one that 12 pop. Yeah, I really did well on the segment. That one.
In your 112?
From my recollection, yeah.
Yeah, I believe it. This late game segment is one of those things where, like, this isn't true 100% of the time, but usually it either goes really well or really bad.
Yeah.
Like you're in the zone and it's great, or you're not and you lose a bunch of time. So...
Yeah, this is one of the hardest, other than like the wreck ship gauntlet earlier segment, this might be up there as the hardest.
Yeah.
Wise.
Agreed.
I don't know, the whole of Meridia is easy to lose a ton of. I mean, there's just so many. Undo is rough. I mean, there's so many segments, but yeah, this one is definitely up there.
Oof.
Oh man.
All right. Trash run. Come on, Zoast. You can do it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I couldn't, but
No, you could. You
it'd
could for sure. It's just
a ton of effort.
It's not as low-hanging fruit as it might seem. That's all. Which is what you were saying earlier. Dude, I missed that too. Come on.
Oh, this fruit is at the top of the tree. It really is.
It's on the highest branch.
And there's nothing wrong like that. You know, something like that. If you do it, and you know, if you really want to do it, then there's the payoff's so nice feeling. You know.
Yeah.
Definitely get a bigger payoff for that than quote unquote the
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
But you're gonna have to build your own ladder to get up there, though. I mean, it's not gonna be easy.
I like that strat. That was the slower version of that strat, but it's still really cool. Okay.
I love how Shine Spark's the Shine Spark timer pauses on
In the elevator.
and refills and different.
Yeah.
So cool. This game's all right.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's okay.
It's a hot pile of garbage sometimes, but
they did a decent job.
Yeah. All right. Didn't fall underneath the... What are those things called? The sponges? Yellow sponges? I can never remember.
I want to... No, they're not Puyo.
If you time it wrong, you can actually fall underneath and freeze it on top of you, so you're just stuck down there until
Oh my
freezes.
god.
Boyan, that's right.
Luckily, that's not too hard of a shot. I don't know. I don't really have a problem.
Yeah, no, I think I messed it up on pace once. And then I just practiced it, and it was fine after that.
The only thing that can make that shot hard is if your TV's too dark. It's, at least for me, the background cue is so key there.
Right. For sure.
That's one thing that Hundo...
So you gave me grief. You gave me grief about not using grapple there to open that door, so I
oh, yeah.
Eventually. Anyway.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Something about Hundo versus... You're like, that's what makes it hard?
No, Hundo was really the one that taught me back in the day the power of background cues.
Yeah,
I feel like.
Visual cues in general.
Visual cues, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I was first running this game, I just did everything based on feel. And then, I don't even remember who said it, but somebody was like, visual cues are key. And I was like, maybe I should try that. And as soon as I did that, like, my play just skyrocketed. It was like, whoa, turns out it's easier to consistently do something if you have, like, a reference for how to do it. That's crazy. Like, I've always been a very musical person, so I feel like I have pretty good, like, internal timing. But it's just not enough in this game. I think there's only a couple things that I rely on quote-unquote internal timing for.
I love me some musical and sound cues too, but it's just kind of far and few between when you're able to do something like that, because the song's been playing for more than one room.
Right.
There's not really a way to sync it up.
Man,
but I love me some cues.
I just sucked at these rooms at the end of this grind. Just always messed that up. That first Metroid room, just always messed it up.
I've always thought of you as one of the most consistent at the Metroid.
Well, so that's the thing, is I was, and then that was good, right there.
That was nice.
I mean, I made that same mistake in Metroid Room 1 in the RBO run that we watched a few days ago. So I think it was honestly just like a period of like that year. Like there were just things that were broken, and they're probably okay now, but who knows? Who knows?
The strat is scary.
Spring ball baby skip. I never gave up on this. I'm glad, because I'm glad it's in here. I'm kind of scared now, though. It's probably the most scary thing about going back to Hundo, because either I betray myself and start doing Stashio skip instead, or I do spring ball skip and then it's scary again. So
what is it like? It's at least like 2 seconds, isn't it, faster than Stashio to do that version?
So Stashio skip is roughly the same speed as the forcing lag spring ball skip. the one that you and Behe were doing with the power bomb. It's like
Puke skip.
Yeah, it's very slightly, puke skip. Pistachio skip is very slightly slower than that by like a handful of frames.
Dang, I thought it was more than that.
You know, it's very competitive. That's
crazy.
I was pretty upset when I found that out. I was like, but I want Spring Ball Skip to always be faster.
I don't know. I mean, Spring Ball Skip's very swag.
It is. Yeah. So, Mother Brain, we talked about this last time, but the big thing about Mother Brain is you want ketchup to come out at a certain time so you don't lose a bunch of time to an extra ketchup. And then the other thing is optimizing stand-up. So, during this 100% grind, Nobody Nada was a freaking legend and wrote a script to figure out how to do the TAS version of stand-up humanly. So that saved a few seconds. So that's what's going to be happening here is we call it 2 cries. And I forgot that I actually, so you can see Samus is like slightly highlighted there. The reason that I did that was actually to spare people watching and listening from the high-pitched screeching, because if you cancel your charge at the right time, it cancels out that noise, and Samus is like slightly highlighted, which is kind of funny.
I think I knew that.
Yep. And then we just gotta squeeze in the charge shots here, and
I knew you could cancel the charge sound, but I didn't know you could. Sounds like.
Yeah. Yep. And then
is that what you do? You cancel.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, it's been a while since I did it, so I don't remember for sure. But I think what you do is you have a charge being held, and then you press item cancel. I think that's all it is. And that will happen. Anyway, one more kind of clutch moment coming up during the escape. This really is a good run.
Robber?
No, you'll see it.
No.
You'll see it. Drewski went crazy when he saw this.
You referring to?
There he is. There he is in my chat. So, there's a blue bomber tech here. You do a down back into the door, but I missed the door shell. But it's still pretty cool. But yeah, so Leodoc's room, I mean, you know how infamous it is for killing runs and stuff. So right here.
Whoa, nice save.
Yeah.
I like how your next 2 ledge grabs were really bad, because you're probably just like, holy crap.
Yeah, that's exactly it. There's a clip in my BRB reel where, so I do the morph, and then I adjust, like I save it somehow, and I go, oh, okay. Like, we're okay. Oh man, because if you fall there, that's a really bad mistake.
Yeah.
Anyway.
GG's.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, so that's the 100% run. Very proud of that run. Clearly, it is improvable. But I had to walk away from it at that point. I should have walked away during this grind at the 1:12:30 when I got the 41 in-game time, because that run was like perfect. It had a lot of mistakes, but it was just one of those really special runs.
Yeah,
but
it's true.
The tournament
you were
was
grinding
on, and
you were grinding for this category for quite a while. It felt like quite a while.
Yep, I did a long grind from 2019 through mid 2021, and then this grind was from. So I was doing Hundo to prepare for our co-op run at SGDQ 2023. That was more like casual Hundo, and then after our co-op run, I'd started like grinding more in earnest, and that lasted through this PB, which was March 2024, I think. So, yeah, I put a lot of time into Hundo. I want to say I have at least twice as much time in Hundo as I do in anything else, which is kind of crazy to think about, but yeah, good stuff. Anyway, any other thoughts you want to share about any of this before we take a quick break and then do you still want to do any percent tonight? Sorry, I know it's pretty late for you, so.
No, it's fine. I'd rather just do it now.
Okay. All right, I just need to like stretch my legs for a couple minutes.
Yeah, I'm gonna use the bathroom as well.
Okay, cool. We'll be right back, guys.
Well, that's fun.
You know, I always wonder, like, you know, let's imagine that these enemies like Kraid, you know, or even some of these regular enemies, they know that their job is they have to be there all the time in all these speed runs, and when they finally like kill Samus one time, they like go to the break room and they're telling everybody like, "Yo," you know, like Kraid's like every time Kraid ruins somebody's run, he's trying to get respect from the other 3 bosses, but you know they don't care. Hey Zenny, I was sometimes like I like to read I don't really like to read fiction. I like to read, you know, reports and studies and stuff. And I was reading this thing like last week. It was like the psychological study that they did. And they basically had a breakthrough with like how they can like scientifically identify psychopaths. And what it was they basically just let people practice series, and then if they decided to go for magnet stares, then they were a psychopath.
Okay.
So,
thanks, man. Thanks. That makes me feel really good about myself. You know, on top of the psychiatrist thing with Zoast and everything. Hey, by the way, Kip, you disconnected.
Oh, did I? Oh no.
That's what you get, jerk.
Unspin there, Samus. No! Well, that's a new one. That pirate had the last laugh. I'll show you, Samus.
Deep. Oh, shoot. We shouldn't have stuttered there. That might have screwed us, actually. Oh!
Where's the energy? Really? Ah!
Yeah, nice bonk, dude. Help?
You're such a freaking heckin' dude, man, bro. Fan too. You and your freaking right fast. You get out of here. I don't wanna see you around these parts no more. Hey, stupid. Ah!
The very last. The very last super. The very last. The very last. The very last.
Okay. Okay. Gotta get 240p suite up so I can get my cam lighting back. I guess. I think they're all strange at this point. I dropped all my eggs. Isn't that what they used to do? Like to teach kids take care of a baby, give it an egg, and if you could bring the egg back, and they had to take the egg with them everywhere they go, and bring it back, and if you still had your egg intact, then you were a good parent. Because that's it right there. I mean, perfect. Ah, sorry. Insight, foresight. The clock on the wall reads a quarter till midnight. Sorry. I had to. Do you not know that song, Zinni? Get it.
Sorry, chat. Sorry, stream on my stream. I was once again muted because I didn't change my scene correctly. That's okay. We weren't talking about anything important. We were just making dumb jokes.
Those are important. Zinni just said our friendship isn't important.
What? I did not. I did not say that. Oh my gosh. This guy. This freaking guy, dude. He knows exactly how to make me feel bad all the time.
And then he just laughs about it. All right, I think I'm ready. Wait.
Waiting.
I think that's fine.
Did you see
That's
my
good.
cool shirt? Did you see it?
I haven't seen it now.
So I have a cool shirt. It says 4022 on it, and Samus is running to her ship. Justin Zane is a real stand-up dude, and he commissioned it. And then after he commissioned it, he sent it to me. He's like, "Hey, I commissioned this because I love your any percent run so much." And I was like, "What?" So now it's a shirt. Anyway, it's
awesome.
super cool. Speaking of which, shameless plug. I actually, after he sent me this, I got in touch with the artist and I was like, "Hey, will you do a 4for4 commission for me?" And she was like, "Yeah." And long story short, that got finished today. So there's a new 4for4 world record illustration up on my store. There's a shirt and a poster. So anyway,
Sweet.
yeah, it's cool. I'm really happy with the design. You know what? I'm gonna show it just because I just have to. Sorry, it's so freaking cool. Image. Okay, let me find it. A sec. It is right here.
Totally sending you that song that I referenced after this.
Do it.
I think you would like it.
Okay. So yeah, here it is. If you look at my stream, you don't have to if you don't want to, Zos, but it's so freaking cool. So it has Samus, it has the echoes of Samus landing on the ship and then like ready to like fly away at the end of her run, and then it has all the world record times. It's super cool. Anyway, I'm really happy with how it turned out. So anyways,
That's cool. I've seen like basketball players' shoes where they have their accomplishments, like,
oh yeah, that sounds awesome.
and that kind of reminds me of that. It's pretty cool.
All right, so we can start this run now. So this is any percent. Okay, Zos, time for you to defend yourself.
Huh?
Why is any percent your new baby? Explain yourself.
It's not.
You said it was. You said it.
I disowned it too now. So.
Oh man, that's oof. You know, we were talking in like 2019, and you said that you were probably going to be done playing Super Metroid soon, and my heart broke in half. And then you kept
2017?
playing.
Is that what you said?
2019.
2019?
Yeah. And then you kept playing for like 3 more years, and I was like, "Oh, good, he didn't quit." Now you quit.
I may do it again.
How dare you? Oh my gosh.
It may happen again. I'm not sure.
All right, so any percent, PRKD, Fantoon first. This is the first category that I ever uttered the words, "I hate this game." I had kind of a complicated relationship with this run for a long time. So, I mean, you know, I was always a hundo guy, and then I needed a break from Hundo, so I decided to try and do an any percent run, and I couldn't. I had a little trouble finishing one. When I finally did it, I think it was a 52, which is really good for a first any percent run. But then I moved on to RBO, and I loved RBO so much, right? So it was like I ran Hundo and I loved it. I ran any percent and I didn't love it, and then I ran RBO and I loved it. And that was like my first like, okay, maybe any percent is not my jam experience. I ran any percent and I took it down to a 43. And then I didn't run it for like a year, and then I ran it again and I took it down to a 42. And I remember from the 43 to the 42, I was able to identify what it was that I didn't really love about any percent as much as 100% or RBO. And that was you just get less cool movement items. That being said, I think there is a lot of charm to this version of any percent in the sense that it's literally like the epitome of an any percent run in a speed run. So like you have some speed games where any percent is just like that's just how you speed run the game, and it's not like special or significant or different, right? But in Super Metroid, it literally is like any percent is about collecting only the things that you need to go as fast as you can and nothing else. And there are sacrifices that you make along the way to make that happen, both in terms of going to more difficult parts of the run earlier, and also in terms of like not going to grab items that would be really convenient to have for the sake of just going faster. So all that being said, Zoast, I know that you love any percent. I mean, you wouldn't have put so much time into it if you didn't, obviously. I remember when the Phantoon first route dropped, a lot of people were like on the fence about how to handle that. You had just barely finished your KPDR grind, and by
like 3 or 4 days.
Right, yeah. I think it was literally like 1 day or something stupid like that.
It was close.
And then, you know, I'm sure that was complicated for you to try and figure out like, okay, do I like run this new route? Like, what do I do? But that being said, like, when did you start feeling like you were really, really loving any percent with this route? Do you remember anything like that?
I don't really remember disliking it, the run. I mean, maybe I don't know. It's been a while, so I mean, could be wrong, but and I've never really. I don't really remember poo-poo in this run. You know, like the route or anything like that.
Yeah. And
As
sorry,
far as, like,
I wasn't trying to say that you were
bland.
like, I never saw you doing anything like that. I was just wondering because, like,
Well, I
it's
may
just-
have. I
it's just
mean,
very
I've
different.
forgotten a lot. I've forgotten a lot, so I mean, I may be making myself out to be a liar, but it's more just because I can't remember at this point,
yeah,
if anything.
it is definitely a very different run from KPDR.
Yeah.
In some
It
ways,
did take me.
Go ahead.
It did take me a little while to get consistent with it because it is, you know, different enough for sure. Even though I'd already played low percent a decent bit, you know, it's still just like, I don't know. You know, Lord Warfare is dangerous, and you know, at that point things were still in their infantile stages as far as how to execute and
Right.
how to approach everything. So, and maybe it was a little harder in that sense to be consistent at just, you know, completing the run cleanly at all.
For sure. I mean, there was a
But it
period of
definitely-
time where a bunch of runs just died to Three Musketeers. It was almost like rolling the dice, right? Like I remember
Yeah.
Mishrak talking about that.
It was just the whole thing. It feels like, you know, it wasn't any one particular thing. It's just well, I mean, the things you would more expect, but like Lower Norfair in general, and early Fanny, and yeah, just not having quite as many items. No plasma, no.
Yeah.
But in particular, Low Norfair and the early Reich ship definitely was an adjustment.
For sure. Yeah. So the first thing I need to point out about this run is if you look at the movement, you may notice that it is exceptionally beatable. That's something that Drewski said when he was watching it the first time, because he was feeling very emotionally raw, and now we poke fun at him for it. But I mean, it's not that the movement is bad, but there is a lot of room to improve for sure.
There's a huge spec. It's like, it almost reminds me of StarCraft, like skill levels. Like, you can be one of the top 15 in the world, and then there's still somebody that does something crazy better than everybody else. Like there's just so what. And I just mean to say that there's so many levels of how you can be aggressiveness and skill to this game. So
yeah,
it's just like, it's a very complicated game. That's why we love it, I think.
Yes, definitely.
So everything's very beatable,
Yeah.
but it's like doing it is I don't know. It's hard to like to talk about, because adjectives don't really work. The adjectives kind of break down. That's kind of the point I'm trying to get to here.
Yep. Yeah. Obviously this isn't true in the literal sense, but the game's skill ceiling is basically infinite. Like, as good as Drewski is, he will only get better. And regardless of how good he gets, I'm sure that somebody will eventually come along that will be better than him. Like, it's just how it is. That being said, even though my movement is not as good as Drewski's, this run is stupidly good.
Yeah, for sure.
I am both terrified and feel very excited at the prospect of giving myself the challenge of trying to beat it someday, because I feel like I'm in a place where I could approach that in a mentally and emotionally healthy way. Because the only way that this run happened was that I was approaching it in a very mentally and emotionally healthy way, right? Because I went through some really hard times with some of the other grinds, trying to figure out my relationship with this game. Like, what is a healthy grind? Like I had no context for that, and now I do. Like, now I know how I can approach this game in a way that is both effective and also doesn't make me miserable because I'm pushing too hard, right? So that being said, if you watch the way that I play this run, there will be one recurring theme, in the sense that I put a heavy emphasis on doing things that I feel are consistent, or more consistent than the alternative. It's funny that I'm saying that, because now we're gonna one round Fantoon. But like,
Ben, there's no inconsistency in that statement.
No, of course not. You'll
One round Fantoon's pretty consistent. It's a consistent way to go fast. It removes RNG, so in a way it definitely is more consistent.
Yeah, for sure. It's just funny because it's one of those things that people insisted would probably not be in speedruns for a long time, because it was so inconsistent. And then, a couple of us got good at it, and now it's kind of the go-to. So that was a one round fast. Obviously, that puts us on a very good pace. I don't remember my door time entering, but it was good. So I had a good early game, and then I got a one round fast. And so
it was good.
Yeah. So as soon as that happened, I was like, okay, I got to lock in here.
I just think it's funny you say it was good, and it was probably like pretty exceptional.
I mean, I don't
on
remember.
the overall spectrum of things.
Yeah, I really don't. But what I will say is, I even though it wasn't like Drewski level good, we did end up with the fastest gravity pace ever in this run, which is just crazy. That's just.
What was it, a 59?
It was a 12:59. It was the first ever sub 13 gravity, and somehow I held it together for the rest of the run, and it just happened that way. So little mistake there in attic. That was something that I was struggling with near the end of this grind. Really not that bad. That's like 40 frames. It's, I wish that mistake didn't happen, but if I had to pick, like, I'll take that over falling in moat or something, like,
For real, like, finishing strong was like I think probably the most impressive part about this run.
Well, thank you.
Because it's not easy to do that at all, and it's not like, I mean, you can always get there again, and sometimes it takes multiple times to finish strong, but you finish really strong and on a crazy pace. So, and that doesn't happen often, and it's really impressive to me.
Thank you. Yeah, it's true. And I mean, just like you, like I've lost a lot of runs over the years at the end, like at the very end of the run. You miss baby skip, or you died a mother brain, or you flub the escape somehow, or like it's one of those things. It's really heartbreaking when it happens, but I think it's also kind of necessary to kind of condition yourself in some ways. You know what I mean? So, and I mean, that's something that I talk about a lot when I'm talking about grinding this game is newer runners can take shortcuts in the sense that the practice hack is so much better now than it ever has been before. But at the same time, there's also like you can't take a shortcut in the sense that you can't just suddenly have more playtime. And in order to accomplish some of the things in this game that that people would like to do, like you just have to have the playtime. I remember years ago, I think I was venting to you about 100% and how I couldn't compete with Behemoth's wrecked ship segment. I was like, I'm trying so hard and I can't beat his segment because I suck. Like something like that. And I think you said something along the lines of, you're like, Zenny, calm down. He's been grinding this game for like 10 years. And I was like, okay. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, it just takes time. Just takes time, period. So
I think I remember that.
Yep.
I think I remember that conversation.
Well, and like, I appreciated that. I mean, it was kind of hard to hear, but I think it was necessary to hear because, like, I kind of
He's been playing this for a long ass time. It's crazy.
I needed to be put in my place in some ways because, like, my peak movement was already faster than his, but I couldn't keep up with him in like a segment setting, right? And I couldn't figure out why. And
he's a beast. He's a beast. Like, racing him is in 100 is like one of the scariest things you can do. I mean, obviously you're up there too in a hundo, but like he's just so consistent.
Well, there's a reason that
when he's really into it.
He won the tournament. He won the 2023 tournament despite the fact that I had the record at the time and I was doing very well in terms of consistency. And I put up a good fight in that matchup, but ultimately he came out on top, and it was because Behemoth is a monster of consistency. It's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. I remember
when he's logged in, he's just so consistent. It's crazy. Like even right now, watching his any percents, like his post Ridley Lower Norfair escapes just always blow me away because he's so consistent that some segments, it's crazy
for sure. I remember not too long ago, somebody made a comment about how if Behemoth wants to compete for world record in any percent, this was before I got this run. They're like, if Behe wants to compete for world record in any percent, he needs to have a faster early game. And I immediately was like, no, no, you don't say that because I thought that about 100% and I was wrong. You know, like
Yeah.
Beaky just comes out of nowhere and he's like, all right, world record is mine now. It's like, how do you do this, man? Like you did that a lot too, but it's so crazy, man. Anyway, we're getting off topic here. This is actually a very important segment in this run. Go ahead.
I just want to say, I think Behemoth deserves some flowers, though, for any percent. He's done so much work on those two and playing them at such a high level for so long.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got off topic a little bit on
For sure. He deserved the recognition in this discussion. Absolutely. So if you look at my super count here, this is a very, 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 very bad super count. At this point in the run, I was already, I mean, I wasn't like heartbroken about it because I was in a really healthy place with the grind, but I was like, man, like this pace is so good, but this super count, like this run's already dead. Like that's pretty much how I felt. I mean, I'm sure you can relate to that, you know?
Yeah. You're not expecting to get bailed out by the speed books.
No,
that's for sure.
No.
Yeah, no, that's not something you're going to count on.
So it's just one of those things where like, you know, and that's part of the reason no resets are so important, because they put you in this mindset where even though I had 2 supers, I was able to keep playing and just focus on, okay, how do I just play fast and not make any mistakes? So I got to this point with minimal time loss, and then I get 4 supers right there, and suddenly the run is back on. Like, it's just crazy. That is the craziest luck. It's yeah, so the other thing is, as I mentioned earlier, I had a huge focus on consistency, and also I like grabbing these missiles because it's faster in-game time. If I ever drop these missiles, it will be after I get a 26, and even then I don't think I would. It's hard to say, but I think in terms of optimizing RTA, if you are going to do 1510, I think you also need to get good at farming the extra power bomb before Ridley and going for 5x Ridley fights. That's something that Drewski's been doing lately, and I think it's finally starting to really pay off for him. He's had some pretty crazy Ridleys lately. I saw Drewski get I think it was a 61 Ridley yesterday. And it wasn't even like that great of a fight. So I think there's a lot of potential there. Personally, I suck at the extra powerbomb farm. So.
Cott used to have a video where he did a 5x in a run. It was like one of the only instances of that for a long time. I think he went for a brief period, I think. I can't remember for sure, though. I know he did it at least once in a run, which is kind of wild. Like, I don't know. That must have been... I don't know the last time Cott played any percent. It had to be in quite a while ago.
Yeah, so Cott Power was... He quit shortly before I came into the community, before I did, if I recall. Which is sad because I never got to watch his stream or anything, but it's okay. Trying to think of like what's coming up here at this point in the run. This was the best lower Norfair elevator time I ever had. I want to say it was about a 20. 20 flat is like the
oh well, you got the extra missile too, which kind of pays off a little bit
exactly
later. So that's a little different.
But 20 flat is like the what's the word that I'm trying to think of, like that's like the standard that you're looking for like world record pace, right? Am I recalling that correctly?
In what time period?
Well, I just mean like I remember, you know,
For the last like 4 or 5 years,
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
yeah.
Like 2010 is doable. It's been doable, at least in the past, for sure. But yeah, once you get getting closer to 20 flat, it's like that's hot pace for sure. And,
Right.
yeah, more like a
So the thing
stand up in a
is,
chair.
I had never had a 20 flat elevator because I was always grabbing the extra missiles, which automatically loses me time, right? But I want to say that's what
Yeah.
this run was with 2010. Like that's how crazy good of a pace this was.
Yeah, it's
Um,
really, really good.
So yeah. I think we get good drops here. Yeah, so we're full on missiles and supers here, which is exactly what you want to see here. And then the extra missiles help a lot with Ridley if you're doing 4x. That was another reason that I insisted on continuing to grab them. So I have spent more time practicing Ridley in this game than literally anything else. Like if you were to look at my total practice time, probably half of it would be Ridley. So that kind of remained true in this any percent grind. I spent so much time practicing Ridley, just fight after fight after fight, trying to figure out like, okay, how do we manipulate his swoops? Because like you can do stuff like break spin at certain times and whatever to make him like come out of a swoop pattern faster, or like random stuff like that. So I put a lot of time into trying to figure out when to use missiles and when to jump and when to shoot and when to break spin and blah blah blah. And ultimately this fight is a really good representation of the payoff of that. I think I made a comment at the end of this fight that was like, it's not perfect, but that was really good. And I mean, that's true, but the fight was like a 63. Like that's like as close to perfect as you can expect in a speed run setting if you're doing 4x, right? So
That's such a crazy fight.
yeah.
Like in a record run.
Yep.
Because most of the records, I think most of the records have been closer to 70s
Yeah.
for a while.
Yep.
Yeah, it's an insane Ridley.
So I had a couple little mistakes here. Nothing super bad. Again, like this, I hadn't really thought of it this way, but this run in a lot of ways kind of reminds me of your 4046 in the sense that it's one of those runs where like, is it perfect? No, but like so many things went right that it's kind of impossible to not be happy with it. Like,
Yep.
yeah.
Well, there was always something I could. Yeah, like it's funny because the 4046 may have been a worse. I don't know. I'd have to look at them again to be sure, but I think like the 4056 was a slow mid, and like the 4046 may have been a much faster pattern. So, or one of them that beat it was a faster pattern. I was like, yeah, I don't know if this run's actually better.
Right. Yeah, the 4056 was a slow mid, and the reason I know that is because of the Funtune quote meme in your chat. I forget which one it is, but somebody wrote up a funny meme that was really bad. Three Musketeers. They're like Fantune, you know, gives a slow mid, and you know he's like so proud of himself for ruining your run, but then you know Zoast during Fantune's last dying breath just says the numbers 4056. Yeah, there it is. There it is in your chat. Like,
Yep.
Fantune's eye widens in shock. The note reads 4056.2. It's so funny.
Yeah, really. I think one of my best runs ever was just some random run in the middle of one of my last grinds where I got like a 45x with just like the worst RNG on every boss.
Yeah.
Like a slow, and like the worst Dragon pattern and this bad Ridley. And it's like, it's weird.
It's so
there's
funny.
no pressure in a run like that though. You know, there's not that pressure for in the end game. So it's not really comparable, but it kind of is, you know, like it shows you what you're capable of sometimes.
And that's what I was going to say is it's runs like that really truly illustrate what is possible in this game. And so that's why like it's always been funny to me when people are like, yeah, sub 40 is never gonna happen. I'm like, yes, it is. I mean, I can't tell you when, but if people continue playing this game, sub 40 will absolutely happen. I don't know if it's gonna be in 3 years or 5 years, or some prodigy is gonna show up and do it in 2 years, or Drewski's gonna level up in a crazy way and do it in 2, you know, I don't know. But it's gonna happen. That infinite skill ceiling, man. It's just crazy. The other thing is, I mean, we're still finding faster tech. Definitely at a slower rate than we used to, but
Yeah.
even in the course of this grind, like I found it wasn't faster, but it was way more consistent for me to swap Wave Beam before Lava Spark instead of at the elevator, and like it made a huge difference for me, you know?
Right.
It's just little stuff like that.
It continues to impress with that the capability of fun and new little things.
For sure. So here's a question.
Yep.
Do you think that eventually, assuming that nothing new is found, that eventually stand-up glitch is going to be in any percent? Or do you think that that's too volatile and people are never going to torture themselves like that?
What I think is that it's probably foolish to make a guarantee either way.
That's fair. I could see it happening. It's certainly not something I'm ever going to pursue in this category. The Mother Brain fight it's so much harder when you have to worry about not using that Shine Spark. It's so bad. It's so awful. But
I haven't actually tried to do all of Turian that way.
so Turian itself is not that bad.
Okay.
But avoiding Mother Brain's attacks while not losing time between your charge shots.
Losing time, yeah, because you can't really, yeah.
It's awful. It's so bad.
Yeah.
All right, so we got bailed out by Batwoon. So, I mean, we're doing really good. Shout outs to you for making me figure out the missile strats, by the way. And then, of course, I miss Yahtzee. So, trash run.
Yeah, I think I bugged you for a little while.
You
about
did.
That,
You did. And I needed it. It was one of those things where, like, I knew I needed to. I was just lazy and I was bad and whatever. But no, I eventually took the time and I asked you for help and you helped me with it. So thank you. Yeah, we're coming up on Dragon.
That's like a multi-part thing you have to learn. So I can definitely sympathize either way, but you know, that's not like a really small thing to pick up. I don't think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it changes a few things on the run. For sure. Not too long before this fight, I actually died to Dragon on a pretty good pace. Because I shot one too many missiles. So I got chain damaged. It was the first time that happened to me in a long time. So I was a little nervous, but... No, I didn't shoot too many missiles. I went too slow. If you don't do your Shine Spark fast enough, the last Shine Spark on the right side pattern, you can just die. But, yep, so...
Yeah, you did a little wiggle to slow slow things down in the beginning of that. That's cool.
Okay, so I'm trying to remember what I was even thinking at this point in the run. I'm pretty sure I had hidden splits. I hit splits in like Lower Norfair or something, because they were just driving me crazy. I was like, I can't look at these anymore. But yeah,
The thing that used to annoy me about hiding my splits, and maybe one of the reasons I haven't done it in a while, is because I would get nervous on runs when there was absolutely no reason to be nervous about anything, and that annoyed me. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to be more nervous than I have to be.
Right.
Because I'm gonna be nervous. I want to kind of feel the run's great if it's gonna be great anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame you for either way, but that was sort of my psychology, I suppose.
Makes sense. And I mean, things have changed for me in the like psychological aspect of this game a lot too. Looking at chat used to not freak me out, and then now it does. If I'm on pace, I can't have chat visible, or it just freaks me out. Like, same thing with the splits.
It's kind of
like sometimes I'm fine, sometimes I'm not. So it's weird, but
I haven't really done that, but I'd almost be more tempted to pick that up.
Hiding chat.
Yeah, because somebody can just say, some troll can come in and say the most, weirdest thing, or I don't know, like I should be above, being affected by stuff like that, of course, but whatever.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things.
Somebody
where,
can just throw you off real randomly. It's like, I don't know.
You can
really
know that you shouldn't care, but you still do, and that's hard. It's hard to figure out how to change that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there hasn't been a whole lot to talk about in this run, and that's because it's just so crazy clean. Like, just watching it, I don't even know what to say about it. It's just like, yep, this is any percent. I mean, I did a video showing all of the time losses compared to like the strats that I go for, and it wasn't that much. Like, it's just crazy. It's crazy. I think I played 30 seconds off my sum of best. It's just nuts. I was pretty nervous here.
Yeah.
But I was kind of in that weird place where like I was nervous, but I wasn't. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but like the run is so good. You just kind of get into weird like flow state.
Yeah.
But
I feel like there's been a lot of different, I think the vibe has gone from oh shit to kind of like what you're describing for me. Like, it's it kind of depends on more things than I can probably point to,
for
just
sure.
how I'm feeling
Yeah.
in any particular moment, in any particular year, and whatever.
So there's that mistake. And then I Kojak as super.
Oh, dang.
So that's definitely like the blemish on the run. That and Yahtzee are like the two like biggest mistakes in this run.
You know what? That brings up something in my head. One thing that always used to annoy me about the whole like dialogue of saying people choked on something, it's just like you can be relaxed as hell and still make these mistakes.
Yes.
Like, they're not. I mean, they might be correlated to some degree, but they're not like necessarily. It's definitely not necessarily the cause of a mistake.
Correlation does not equal causation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was trying to play off of that, but I couldn't figure out how to land it.
Yeah.
Correct.
So here's Stachio skip, and I'll talk more about the choke thing in just a second.
Sure.
This went very well, thankfully. I got pretty dang consistent with 3 jump near the end of this grind. I remembered something that I had forgotten about how to make 3 jump better, which was not breaking spin before you land the first time you jump. Like, it just makes it easier for my setup. So that helped a lot. But as far as choking goes, yeah, I mean, I agree. It's one of those things where, have I choked on runs before? Yes. But have I also lost runs?
Yes, me too.
Have I also lost runs to a mistake that looked like a choke, but like in reality I was totally chill? Yes, that has definitely happened.
Exactly.
So it's just weird. Oh yeah, the turret tried to screw me over, but I was sitting too far forward. Heck you, turret. I know your games.
The tiptoeing forward is really nice.
It's so good in this. The thing is, it's even better with 2010 because you don't need to start shooting supers until the glass is completely broken. And so you don't even have to adjust after you start shooting supers. It's really nice. There's so many little benefits to 2010 like that that are hard to quantify. But Mother Brain. So this fight was pretty dang clean. I was of course pretty nervous, but it went off pretty well. The catch-up pattern wasn't the best, but came out at a really good time because got good cutscene.
Yeah.
So
That's insane. I forgot you got that.
yeah, so it's one of those things where could this have gone a couple seconds faster? Yes, in theory, but you can't really look at it as a time loss either. So it's fine. Like I'm not gonna complain about this. No way.
How often were you getting good cutscene?
Not often.
Yeah, I was wondering if there was some way you had to maybe get it more often. I guess.
Yeah, I looked into manips for it. The thing is, you can technically manip it, but it's so... Mother Brain's attack pattern RNG is so inconsistent that usually you would end up losing time or getting about the same time if you waited to like bait her into good cutscenes. So I wasn't doing that. One thing that I did start doing though was I started crouching for the majority of the fight, and the reason I did that was because it really seems like Mother Brain gives you more meatballs when you're crouched. The weird thing about that is I had Nobody Nada look at the code, and he says it's not in the code that would happen. But I mean, I did a lot of testing and it always came out the same results. Like when I was crouched, I got more meatballs. I don't know what the deal with that is, but meatballs in this fight tend to lead to a more favorable catch-up timing from what I could tell. So I just kept doing it. And this run just so happened to get good cutscenes. So whatever.
And good cutscene it's like a couple seconds or something?
4 seconds.
4 seconds?
4 seconds.
God. That's crazy.
Unless you can do 2 cries, in which case it's actually bad cutscene, which is really funny.
Right.
Because you can't do 2 cries with good cutscene. And 2 cries is faster than good cutscene, so...
yeah, that's the weird thing about... I guess isn't that the way 100% is? Like, you don't want to get... If you get that, it's like...
Yeah.
Messes things up.
What's funny is I kept getting it in Hundo. I was like, stop it! I need 2 cries now. I don't want good cutscene anymore. Silly game. So, when I was finishing this run, I knew it was world record pace. I knew it was. So I was pretty nervous for escape, but the thing is, I thought it was probably like mid to high 2x. So it ended up being a 40-22. I mean, you know, it's not really a spoiler because we don't even have splits up on screen. I'm wearing the shirt and stuff, but what people may not know about this, and I feel like I just have to say it. So my cutoff for the in-game time minute is about 22, 21, like right there, with the extra missiles and the strats that I do and stuff. And when I was doing this grind, Zoast had been doing an in-game time optimize any percent, trying to get the first 26. And so I, had been hiding my splits. I finished the run. I look at the splits and I see that it's a 40-22. And I was like, oh no, did I take the 26 from Zoast? Like, I was legitimately really scared.
That would have been tough. That would have been tough. Like, to be honest, that would have been tough.
Yeah.
I would have still wanted to get the 26 because I do like that route. But that'd have been tough because this run is so sick to almost do that.
Right. No, this was
because I figured you would beat the record, but it was a little surprising by how much, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it was surprising to me too. Um, yeah, I was legitimately afraid that I'd taken it from you. I don't know what that says about me as a person, but I'm just glad. I feel like this run turned out exactly perfectly. Like, so it was a 27. It ended up being 56 frames off of a 26, which is just it's so awesome. Anyway, and then for those who don't know, Zoast got the first 26 in game time the next day. So
I love how close that was.
yeah,
Crazy.
it's awesome. It's super awesome. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, that's any percent. That's the last of our 4 for 4. And I just want to say thank you again, man, for joining me for this. And these have been fun. It's been fun to just talk and reminisce and kind of point out cool swag stuff and
Yeah,
bad mistakes and whatever.
it's easier to have more insightful commentary on not actually playing a little. For me, at least, it
Yeah,
is.
for sure.
But yeah, it's been fun, and big congratulations, of course, for all that.
Yeah,
all
thank
the,
you.
all the runs.
Yep. So time for me to start getting some actual time and put into GT Classic. I'm excited for that. I've been saying I wanted to put some real time into it for like 6 years, so it's finally time. But yeah, I mean, as far as like I wouldn't say that I'm done running any of these categories either, which is kind of the funny thing about this game. You know, I used to think that like I would get a specific run and feel like I could just be happy and be done and move on, but I don't know, the longer I play this game, the more I realize that this is so cliche. I feel so stupid saying this, man. It really is about the journey. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. Like it's just so fun running this game and feeling that self-improvement and seeing that self-improvement. And even outside of the game, like there have been a lot of ways that I've grown as a person and you know, other things just through the process of learning how to be a better speedrunner. Like, okay, how do I get better at Super Metroid? So I've like figured that out, and then I'm like, wait, I can apply that to real life too. It's just really weird. But anyway. Whoa, Nia. Whoa. Chill. How's your cat?
He's doing fine.
It's good. Cool. Well,
Always hungry, but other than that, he's fine.
It's like our cat Jane. If there's food, she will find it and she will eat it. She was chewing through a bag of chips. I found she chewed through a bag of chips yesterday. I was like, "You stupid cat." Come on. But yeah.
See, that would make me afraid about having chips at all after that. Like I would think, oh, she's learned this now.
Right.
Oh
right.
no.
All right. Well, thank you again, Zoast, for joining me and for your friendship. Thank you for being such a legend and inspiration to me over the years. And I know that you don't like being called the GOAT, so I guess I won't say that again, but you're certainly my GOAT, dude.
I like the way you said that. I guess I won't say that again.
Really though.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man. It's been awesome seeing you grow over the last few years, for lack of a better way to put it. But yeah.
It certainly has
It's
been
been
growth,
awesome.
for sure.
Yeah.
I also want to say, like, you know, there have been a lot of times where you've like encouraged me or inspired me over the years, but there have been a couple like key moments, and I just want to acknowledge those. So like, first of all, before I got back into 100%, so this is back in 2019, I did RBO at GDQ, and we were talking about some other stuff that was going on, and I don't even remember the context of the conversation, but you asked me what I was planning to do next, or we were talking about our future plans for the game, or like something like random something. And I remember saying something about how I really wanted to work hard on Hundo. And I remember you responded to that with like, it was like a pog emote. And I was like, wait, Zoast is excited for me to run 100%? And like, it was just, it really meant a lot, man. So thank you. And then also, you know, I think you were the first person to say out loud that you thought that I could get any percent record, like long before I felt like I could. And again, like that was just one of those things where it was like, he believes in me more than I believe in myself, and I think he's wrong, but it was, you know, it's just so nice. Anyway. So thanks again. Thanks for your friendship and your encouragement.
You too, man.
You know, like I said, I don't know what tomorrow holds. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. And, you know, I hope that we can continue playing together and growing together and whatever. But that being said, you know, if tomorrow were the end, I could definitely look back on this and just be so happy and grateful that I had the opportunity to run this game in this way during the same period of time as you. So yeah, thank you. It's been an honor, and I'm really, really happy to call you my friend. So
I agree. It's been a blast, man. I don't think it's going to end today, though.
So Sassy just said in my chat, just move in already, Zoast. So anyway, we love you, man. I appreciate you and your time. I gotta go.
Thanks.
I got family stuff I gotta do. It's way past my kid's bedtime and stuff. But yeah, for real, I know I said this last time, but for real, we need to do RoboCop soon. So let's figure that out. But
I'm down with that.
all right. I'm gonna look for a raid. Everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for all of your support all these years. This is the end of the 4-for-4 celebrations that have been going on over the last couple weeks. And yeah, Zoast, I'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. See you around. Have a good night.
Bye. Oh, I'm supposed to go up there.
No! No, dude.
Low-key hype remix. You can't really moonfall in this. Like, it's possible, but it's really awkward. What? What just happened? It's the second time that's been mentioned tonight. Is it really that crazy? I've never looked at it. Okay. Ah, 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 ah!